Queen. Pennine Ham for the regular Thursday evening digital net. Got quite a few on this evening, and see where we go from there. Paul, I think you might have 2 or 3 connections at the moment there, and I'm just wondering about bandwidth. So G0TVB in the group, M0AUG. From Paul. Perhaps he's just got a couple of hotspots plugged in, but I notice he's also connected by the PI7 LIM network as well. So keep it from there, see how we go. Over to Keel in Northern Georgia now, and GG2G0OAY. Good evening there, Frank. M0AUG. J6AY here. Hello to the group, good evening to everyone, and yeah, I've been missing the last 2 weeks. I must have been busy, but I can't really remember what I have been doing. It was still a busy month, and yeah, the last weekend I was again in Laboe at the U995 Technics Museum doing some doing some QSOs on short wave bands, but doing even more QSOs with the villagers, and it was again very exciting. And on the other days I've been playing with like fantastic hardware, and yeah, playing around a little bit with a testing network. There are already a few stations here in Kiel, so there is a smaller network growing or building up, and maybe I can talk about that later in the next hour, and give my first impressions about such a network, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And whereas I think Bob is, unfortunately Bob is not here today. I saw he was going towards 3,000 marks. Maybe he is already that border and is now above 3,000 total parks. But I don't see him in the list of connected hotspots, unfortunately. And now the microphone back to just M0AUG. Yeah, fine on that, Frank, and thanks for joining us again. I wasn't running on that last week, but because I could hardly talk, and so in actual fact, Keith, who will be on no doubt later, GM for the Checkers, took over the group last week. Okay, we'll go over to Lou now, and I'll keep you in the original order. I notice you come off and come back on again, Lou. I'll keep you in the original order as I've got. G6KJJ in the group, M0AUG. M0AUG, G8KJJ. Yes, very good evening, Jeff. Very good evening to everyone. The WX in Nottingham, it's
It's been cold this morning, but sunny. Cloudy PM, and the temperature at best was about 11 degrees Celsius. Now, I think it is warming up, but this morning it was quite a cool morning. Band conditions for me have been very good. On Sunday and Monday during the day, I worked to Montserrat, San Andres, St. Helena, Australia, Indonesia, Japan, and the USA. That was on FT8 with 40 watts and a cobweb antenna. And this evening I worked San Andreas again. This was on 17 meters, so that means I've worked them on 2 bands. So that was very good. I found the presentation on valve transmitters very interesting, and it brought back some very happy memories. But more on that on the next over. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG of the group, GAKJJ.
GAKJJ of the group, M0AUG turning, yes, fine on that one. Unfortunately, I missed the presentation last night because I was too late back in to be able to watch it. So I'll pick it up on the YouTube channel. That's the beauty about YouTube, isn't it? I'm able to put presentations up there. I can go back to them again. So thanks for your input so far. Over to you then, Nick, G4IWO in the group, M0AG. Good evening, Nick.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff, and good evening to everyone on the net this evening. Very good to see you. WX here is currently 10 degrees. It's gone slightly warmer than it was this morning. It's probably crept up a couple of degrees since first thing this morning. The wind has completely died down, so the very, very cold strong wind we had yesterday seems to have eased off, I'm pleased to say, but we did have some rain today. So that's the weather conditions. Radio wise, 2 lovely contacts for me today. One was a contact with F4IWO down in the south east of France, which was good fun on 40 meters, and we've exchanged an email since about the call signs. And the second one was coming in the shack to set up this evening the radio and the streaming on YouTube as we're doing tonight. So good evening, of course, to those watching or listening rather on YouTube, and catching up on the video later in the week. I had a quick look on the reverse beacon network and spotted that 9 Lima 8 Mike Delta, which is the de-expedition that Emil's joined to Sierra Leone. I think they arrived yesterday, is active on lots of bands. They're currently on 17 meters single sideband. They're running FT8 on 10 meters. They're running FT8 on 13 centimeters as well. But I saw them calling CQ on 20 meters on CW, and in 20 minutes I managed to get through the pile up and exchange a contact details with 9L8MD. So very pleased to have got those in the log. So more about everything else later on, other than just to add Lou's comments. I thoroughly enjoyed Peter's contribution last night. It was very interesting, and like lots of us, of course, we were taken back to that era. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, G4IWO.
with the deal 1BJW. Yeah, quite a few pop-outs and things on the overs for both of you, but nothing we couldn't recognise there. So, what I'm going to do now, rather than go on to Mark, I'm going to go back to Nick, because I can see him on the dashboard and no audio. So try again, please, Nick. G4IWO in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Can you hear me okay now, Jeff? Over.
Absolutely fine, no problem, Nick. Go ahead, please.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, I'm afraid I didn't hear anything of Mike and Adriana's over and didn't realise I hadn't been transmitting. So the WX here today, 10 degrees. It was 8 this morning. It's gradually gone up as the day's gone on. I've had the opportunity of being on the radio for a couple of very short sessions, one in which I made a QSO with Foxtrot for Italy Whiskey Oscar, F4IWO, which was quite good fun, made me smile. And even better to get a CW contact with 9 Lima 8 Mike Delta in Sierra Leone, which I was very pleased with. But they seem to be extremely active. They're currently on 13 centimetres FT8. They're currently on 10 metres FT8 and also on 17 metres single sideband. So they've got some set up down there with the number of operators and stations that they're running. And I'll add to Lou's comments. I thoroughly enjoyed last night's talk by Peter. It was extremely interesting, and yes, it made us all think, didn't it, of many years ago, of the earlier days of radio and valves that were much more familiar than they are nowadays. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO in the group, M0AUG saying, yeah, no problems at all in the last over there, Nick. I noticed that Bob's dropped off as well. And also Mark, who was going to be the next one I called, was W0DIM. He's had a shot at the connected list. So we'll bypass those two for the time being and go to you, Jeff. Oscar November 8, November 2nd in the group. M0AG, good evening, Jeff.
Mike, Zero, AUG, the group. I would think a very good evening to everyone, wherever you are, and maybe also people on YouTube. We have 14 degrees today. Today was the best day of the week, actually. 14 degrees and sunshine. The wind went away, so I put my V2000 VHF, UHF antenna back on the balcony. And there are some good conditions still on 16. There is some DPOV 6 books from Belarus, and some other leagues is still on 1678. So still some good conditions there. Okay, no, I put some more about all these things on the next over. So I give it back to you, Jeff. 50AUG, the group over 8 November. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jeff, and look forward to the next part of the over there. Okay, Bob seems to have vanished, and he was my next one on the list there. So, for my own part, I'm sorry I couldn't make the net last week, but obviously Q took over and was able to run that for me. I just couldn't speak at all. However, the voice came back a bit by the time Sunday morning came. I wasn't able to take part in the CQ Worldwide on the Saturday, but on the Sunday, and bear in mind, my only antenna is an ATAS 120, and that's it, that's all I've got. But it was by the end of Sunday, I worked on 100 contacts on the side down there, including some decent ones, particularly down to South America and the Caribbean down there. So I was well pleased with the efforts in the day. So back over to you, Frankie Keel. TG0OAY in the group, M0AG.
Yeah, the 2608 back. Yeah, I forgot to mention the weather, but we also just have 10 degrees maximum, and it's already becoming chilly in the submarine when working there, but that was the first time we turned on the small electric heater in the radio room, and so that it was okay working from there, but all the other spaces or rooms in the submarine were at outdoor temperatures, and so that was quite chilly. But yeah, there was an impressive young girl there. She was maybe 9, 10, or 11 years old, and when she came into the radio room, she was excited about all the radio gear and said, "Oh wow, cool stuff." Although she probably could not recognize all the gear, but I showed her my pedal and the small decoder with a display so that she could write her name on the display. She hasn't heard or hasn't seen Morse code before, but she was able to write the first letter of her name, and found that so amazing that she could write letters just with dots and dashes, and actually she could write, her name was Clara, she could write her name error-free on the decoder display, and she was really excited about that. She also listened a bit to the radio, but unfortunately, because of the with being contest, my FT 891 was really overloaded, and it was hard to copy a single station there. And yeah, then we listened a little bit to Morse code. I showed her a decoder app on my phone, and she noticed that most of the conversation was English, but there were a lot of shortcuts. She noticed that, and so I said, I told her that the operators don't say goodbye, they just write 73, and we played 73 on the pedal until the unique sound of 73. And a little later, when she said goodbye, she was actually humming. We exchanged some words with her parents, and while we were talking, she was humming 73 all the time in loop. So this was just so much fun, and maybe there's a new operator coming in a few years. So that's one of the impressive visitors at the submarine. My Damen und Herren, to you and you, G, for these forward.
TG0OAY in the group, M0AG Italy. You just got in there before the timer, Frank. Thanks for your contribution there. It sounds very interesting, and when people get into the hobby at an early stage, obviously it bodes well for the future. So thanks for that. You see the beauty, especially in stations and things like that. Over to you there for your further news there, LP. Hello. QJJ in the group, M0AG.
M0AUG in the group GAKJJ. Yeah, thanks, Jeff, and congratulations on the 100 contacts in the contest. That's very good. Yeah, since the ISS, I've got this in this, and since the ISS orbit is not favourable at the moment, I've not had a chance to try out the new system that I've set up, which is a ICOM IC7100 and the SDI console system. And it is fully operational, but I haven't had a chance to try it out, so I shall wait for the ISS to become more favourable in its timing. The presentation by Peter at GM0EUL was very interesting and reminded me of my teenage years in the 1950s. When I would spend hours building valve equipment. In those days, high quality wall surplus equipment was readily available, and I remember you could go on to the local market, and there was a surplus equipment stall, and you could buy things for very, very low prices. Just a few shillings often, you could get a radio receiver. That was a very happy time, and I did spend a lot of time building farm equipment. One of the things I did build was an oscilloscope using a war surplus VCR 97, which was an electrostatic cathode ray tube used for airborne radar. And that was a very interesting project, and it worked well, and I used it for quite a long time. During that time, I had war surplus radios, including an R107. I used shortwave listening. My favorite radio was a Telefunken chips receiver. It was reaction tuned and was very sensitive when you got it right, but it was sometimes a little touchy. But anyway, back to you, Jeff. That's my news. There's a bit more to come later, but we'll see what others have got to say. M0AUG, GJJJ.
Yes, thanks for that. It's all interesting stuff, isn't it? The hobby just never ceases to amaze me as to where it goes from there. My conditions are limited over here, but I do enjoy what I manage to do. And obviously, on this particular weekend, although for family activities, I wasn't able to go. The local Fulton Leaders Amateur Radio Society put on a big station for the CQ worldwide. They got the name out and the tower and all the rest of it. So it'd be interesting to see what there's elsewhere from that. I couldn't go and support them due to family commitments. Over to you there, Nick, again, G4IW and the group M0AG.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Bob has sent a message that they're suffering with power cuts. They're suffering with power cuts at his home QTH, and the internet keeps dropping out, so he's struggling to reconnect. He's going to keep trying if the power comes on and the broadband comes back up again. So yeah, Lou's quite right, of course. My first radio was the Marconi CR100, beast of a radio that I used as a shortwave listener to start with. And then my dad, I think for my birthday, gave me a Dutch book, which I've lost, printed in English by a Dutch radio amateur, which was giving some information about amateur radio and a circuit diagram for a shortwave regenerative valve, of course, receiver, and also a small valve transmitter, both of which I was the assistant to my dad in building, and for many years that regenerative receiver gave me an awful lot of pleasure, as once I'd passed the RAE, as did the valve transmitter as well, which, if I remember rightly, was on 40 meters, crystal controlled, giving me about 20 watts out on CW, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was very interesting, and it's quite interesting to compare the radio of 50 or 60 years ago to the radios that we use nowadays. But of course, they all share the same base, really, don't they? You know, they're transmitting and receiving electromagnetic waves, which are being bounced around the ionosphere, around the planet, and so the base of the hobby remains the same if the equipment is slightly changed. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, G4IWO.
Talking of things moving on, yesterday, I think it was on the day before, I received the latest version of Ham Radio Deluxe logging software, which has been waiting for a long time. So that installed okay, no problem. It's now Northern Jerry there, DL1, BJW, DLABT. Over to you there, Mike.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Yes, expedition to Sierra Leone. I listened in today and was receiving them on FT8, I think on the 50-meter band, yeah, and CW on the 20-meter band, but no luck for me. I couldn't get in contact even into FT8, but also not in CW because there was so much traffic there. It was quite impossible. But I have my hopes up that perhaps I will be more luckier in the next days. So congrats to Nick G for IWO for your completed contacts there. By the way, I measured the CW which was transmitted there from Sierra Leone, and I saw that they were doing 35 words per minute. Otherwise, I've been experimenting quite a lot with an indoor dipole in the loft below the tiles there, because we had to take down part of our outdoor antennas because of impending thunderstorms, which luckily didn't come finally, but the antenna is still down. So I had only the indoor dipole there, which was built up in 30 V below the tiles, and 40 watts. And I'm always astonished what is possible with these relatively simple means there. I made CW contacts into Colombia, the east coast of the US, and to Turks and Caicos Islands, Victor Papa 5-stroke WT3K expedition there. Also to a polar station from Dubai, Alpha 65 Delta, which was a little bit difficult, but he read me in the long run. And some very strong station, but it was also a very special station, a Kilo Oscar 4 station from the States, which was operated under American call sign from an American living in Israel, and he was using it remote. So that was very interesting to work that, and I think we will hear a lot more about remote stations in the future. Regarding the remote station program from the Deutsche Amateur Radio Club, DARC, here, we will look further into it. We haven't until now been able to make contact or to get into the system, but we are planning to do that in the near future, and we'll tell you about it then. So far from my side, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tank.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, first of all, Frank, your report from the submarine is very interesting, and it's always amazing if one can impress little children to make Morse code or get interested in ham radio. That's always big fun, and yes, we have seen your station and your efforts you make for the younger visitors there when we visited the submarine, and I can imagine that the younger ones will find this very, very interesting. So that's a good job. And Nick, congrats to booking Sierra Leone. This is very, very good. We will listen there during the next days. I saw some photos and a short video from the station there on the homepage of DX World. might be interesting to look into it. And especially the short video where you can see how they are erecting the antenna. This is quite interesting. Yes, and on my side, I did some experiments with QAPP on Kangaket last weekend, and this was quite interesting because I have been heard about 1,300 kilometers away with a kit, but I'm waiting for making a contact with it. So during the further weekend, I managed to make contact with the QMX on CW and to Portugal, and so this was quite good. But also, I took part in the contest with QRP and QRPP. I used my True SDX first in SSB, the forward output, and I managed to work a station in Navarra, 1,688 kilometers away, with forward, and then we make some tests with 0.5 watts, 500 milliwatts in SSB, and I reached a station in Spain near Andorra, which is 1,315 kilometers away, and a station in Italy, which is 1,208 kilometers away in L'Aquila, and many other stations here in Europe. This was quite a surprise, and I was very lucky to make this, give it a try in the contest, but I have to admit that I made it on Saturday, not on Sunday. I think this was quite good. So I hand the microphone back to M0AUG for the group.
CIBUT with DL1 BJW in the group, M0AUG returning. Those are fantastic contacts, aren't they, Jenna, with just milliwatts? You must be so proud of being able to achieve that, and I think that's very, very well done indeed. Long way to continue. The beauty about you two being on the setting every week, you've always done something during the week. I wish I had the time to do some of the things that you do, but you really do enjoy the hobby to the full, and that's what it's all about. So thank you very much for both of you for your contributions to this group. Okay, over to you there, Jeff. What's the number 10 in the group, M0AG?
AUG, the group for 8 November. And first of all, congratulations to Adriana and to Mike and to Lou about their contacts there. Impressive, very nice, really very nice. And I'm surprised or delighted or whatever. To see Papa Alpha Seti, Mike, I hope that will be a BNet connection which is properly under testing. So that will be a good addition to the net here and to the reflector. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, about the talk yesterday was quite interesting. Brings back some memories when I was an 11, 12 years old guy playing with an old valve wireless, putting the screwdriver into it to align something, and then got the hit, and my arm was completely red. So I learned it the hard way. So that's my experience with that. So in the meantime, I'm playing with RTL SDR. I got my RTL SDR dongle operational. lot of tinkering too, actually, but that's not that dangerous. So I got my NTLSDR working on my Android tablet, which is quite interesting. So I can receive all over the place from 500 kilohertz to 1.7 gigahertz, I think. So that's really a big addition to my station here, and to do some experiments with it and so on and so on. The next step is to try to decode some weather satellites. That's probably one of the next things I want to try. Okay, the things I have done this week also is participating in the CQ Worldwide SSB contest in the QRP class. So I did the 10 watts maximum, and I was able to work 116 QSOs. In Latin America, Asia, Russia, Kuwait, Africa, but I didn't manage to work the Japanese and the Chinese stations. I think the competition was too big and probably my signal was not too strong with 10 watts. But quite happy about the results, so I was really surprised that that went that well. And okay, Frank, about this testing is quite interesting. I played a little bit with LoRa. I have a LoRa iGate here on my balcony actually, which is one of a network of different LoRa iGates that we have here in our region, here in our province, so to say. So it is good fun if you go with your LoRa outside, even with 100 milliwatts. It's amazing how far you can reach with that. It's really very interesting. So I really like that idea. I don't know a lot about mesh testing, but I do have some experience with LoRa, and we have a group here who is playing with that. I think maybe Nick, if you talk about the Dutch amateur who produced actually a lot of books about radio amateurism, hamming, and for shortwave listeners, that is probably Jim Vastenhout. Jim Vastenhout, I had also a collection of his books, because that's my native language, so I got also quite a collection of his books, and they were very instructive, so very good author, and that was probably from him, but of course I'm not 100% sure. So that's my take for this moment. I do have a picture for the end of the net, and I give the microphone back to you. I still forgot something, but okay, nevertheless, maybe the next time. Mike 0 AUG, the group coordinator, everything.
Time on the group M0 AUG today. Yes, thanks for all that, Jeff. And it's just surprising when you're able to work with your balcony conditions, etc. Very well done indeed. I was quite pleased with my little lot, which is all I can do from here, just with the air tasks. Spent Sunday afternoon working there, and it was good. I wish I'd been able to do it on the Saturday as well. The family commitments stopped me from doing that. Final picture later on. Talking of pictures, Jeff, during this week, when I switched on my PC, one of the Microsoft pictures at the beginning was the canal in Bruges, and that looks beautiful. And very pleased to see that on there. Right, back to the top of the list, and maybe it's time to start taking some files. Not too many was on this evening. And before we go any further, I've just noticed that Mark MW0DIM has reconnected. So I'm just going to go over to Mark now and say, good evening, MW0DIM in the group, M0AUG. Please join us, Mark. MW0DIM in the group, M0AUG. Good evening, Mark. Please join us.
Oh, I think my glasses, isn't it? M0AUG, this is Mike Whiskey Zero Delta India Mike. Yeah, I had to pop out for half hour to pick my wife up from my sister, so I'm back now. I'm just going to get my glasses in a minute, otherwise I'll have a headache. I'll be back now. Yeah, I got my specs, I can see now. Otherwise I get a headache. Yeah, just back from a walk up the road. It's quite a dark little road, so I'm going to pick my wife up then. Yeah, I've sort of haven't been on the radio much. Just messing around with BB Megastick and having a listen on my Shigu G90. I've yet to get a JCP12 portable multiband whip for it yet. So I've been listening on 10 meters on an Orbiter CB whip, which is quite good indoors. So I mean to go out to a local spot about 1,000 feet above sea level and cut an inch or two off it and use the automatic tuner on the Saigo bed to make some contacts. But indoors, it's been actually quite good. I've been listening to Brazilian stations, French Guyana, all the Canadian, stateside, Faroe Islands, Dubai, most countries in Europe. So I've had a quite good time on it. And it's an excellent little radio phone. I think about £370 I paid for it. But yeah, absolute bargain. So I've been on that. And just a little bit on D-Star and DMI. I've been doing other stuff and that, you know. So yeah, nice having a chat with the group. So I'll hand the light back to you, M0AUG, and the group. This is MW0DIM.
W0DIM in the group, M0AUG tag. Yes, fine on that, Mark. And before we go any further, I'll just introduce you to some of the regulars who are on this evening. My name is Jeff, and I live up on the Fylde coast. And I usually do the net control for this Thursday evening net on behalf of Pennine Ham. I have got two very, very capable helpers who we were hoping to say between us. One of them is Oscar November 8, November Tango, Jeff in Belgium, and obviously we've got Keith GM4 JKZ, who isn't on this evening up in the borders. So we're the three net controllers who work this group from Denver. Also on this evening is G6KJJ from the Midlands, Northamptonshire, I think it is. And G4IWO, Nick, who is the chair of Pennine Ham, who lives over in the Pennines over near Littleburn. Over to Northern Germany, we've got DL1 VJW with DL8 BDT, and they've always got something to tell us about their activities. They do very, very well indeed. So that's the lineup as far as we are this evening. So what I'll do now, I'll leave it with you and I'll just pass it over now, straight over to Frankie Keane, and they can tell you a bit more. DG0OAY in the group, M0AUG. Over to you there, Frankie.
DG6OAY back. Yeah, kids are interested in playing with the Morse key and Morse decoder, but of course they will not use Morse code as the first mode, so I always looking for things which might also be interesting, and so I'm looking into this testing. Still, even if you require amateur radio license, if you want to start playing with it, because it's located on the 868 megahertz band, and they are small, inexpensive devices, which is good for beginners, ranging from $20 or €20 up to 88. Then you even have a small BlackBerry kind of device with display and keyboard, and you can send messages. And all these radios communicate via the LoRa protocol, and they can forward packets. It's probably a little bit like packet radio, but just in your hands. days ago there was almost no activity here in Sweden. Now, today I recorded, I think, 22 notes. So the activity has grown a lot. But of course, I also see disadvantages because they only have one channel for sending messages, and it seems like everyone is just testing how many notes you can receive or connect, but nobody is sending messages. So it's a little bit strange. But it's, I see it as a kind of experiment, and so I have a few devices now, play with it, and there are some features. Maybe I will talk about some of the features next week or so. One of the features is that the devices can also count numbers of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth devices in reach, so they can count, estimate about how many people are there in reach. So for counting people around the device, that might be interesting, because my intention is to count how many people are there in the submarine currently, if there's a queue building up because of our activity, or if there's a normal traffic flow to the submarine. That is just one thing which is give some more info, some details, or views about the mesh testing network. And because of that, I missed all the major activity which I heard about today. And that's also interesting. It is my time on again. Send it to everyone. Nice evening to everyone in this one.
Holy wine, the group M08 here, Jeremy. He just got in there right before it's all timed out. Thanks for joining us this evening as usual. And stay safe, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week. Now, we'll go over to Lou now. And are you planning on putting a photograph up at the end there, Lou? I might have missed that last time. And also, that was it. Apply to Jeff. Keep us in this evening. So, G6KJJ group, M0AUG.
M0 AUG in the group, GAKJJ. Yes, okay, Jeff. I do have a picture. When you're ready for that, I'll give more information when you ask for it. Comment first of all to Nick. Yeah, I do remember the CR100. It was a very, very good receiver, and it was better than the one I used, the R107. It was a Marconi. The CR100 was a Marconi receiver, if I remember rightly. And they also made the R1155, which was quite a good receiver, wartime, of course, and the 1154 transmitter, which was a huge thing. I did have an 1155 and a 54. Of course, I couldn't transmit at that time, so the 1154 was cannibalized for parts, and it had some wonderful parts, a lot of silver-plated coils and all manner of high-quality components. Of course, it was an aircraft transmitter and receiver, the 1155 and the 1154. But yeah, wonderful receivers. But of course, they wouldn't compare to the receivers of today. And well done, Adrian, for the low power working over 1,000 kilometers. That's absolutely brilliant. I really ought to try this QRP. I've been doing FT8 now for about two years, and a little bit over 2 years, and I've done, I think, about 165 countries. And I get it very hard to work new countries, so maybe I should start again on low power and see how many countries I could work in the same length of time. Anyway, it's a thought, isn't it? And okay, Jeff, about the SDR and the tablet, that's great. And the weather data, yeah, I have looked at that, but I haven't tried it. quite interesting. And congratulations on 116 contacts with just 10 watts. Absolutely brilliant. So I'll pass it back, and I'll give information about the picture when you ask for it, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, GAKJJ.
Actually, in the group, zero age routine. Yes, fine enough, and we'll come back to you when it's picture time. We'll just go down the rest of the group now. And, I'm conscious that Nick wants to be away for about 8:30, so it's over to you, Nick. If you wish to make it a final, then that's up to you. G4IWO in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff. Very helpful indeed. I've got a reading appointment with the one of the young grandchildren who's staying with us. I promised that I will read him a book tonight. I would be fascinated, Jeff, if we could discover the book and the author of the book. I will do a bit of research on that and see what I can find out. I know I lost it, probably 20 years ago. It was a hardback book. The cover fell off, and I suspect on one of my moves I decided to just throw it away. But it would be nice to have a look at some of the diagrams of the radios that were contained in that book. And to Mark, you can't go wrong with that G90. We've got quite a few members of our club that use that quite a lot, particularly for operating outside portable, because it's such a nicely featured radio, 20 watts output and a built-in antenna tuning unit. It's a fabulous value for the money, I think. And if you're looking for inspiration on antennas, Mark, over the next few weeks, we've got 3 speakers coming to speak live in the club on Zoom, and of course they'll also be on the club YouTube channel. The first one is coming up next Wednesday, November the 12th, and that's Colin MM0OPX, Mike 0 Oscar Papa X-ray. If you look on YouTube, you'll see his YouTube channel. He's going to come and talk about portable antennas and what we can do with them. The next talk coming up after that, on the 26th of November, is a talk on building a simple 3-element vertical HF beam antenna using those 16.5-foot telescopic whips that's sold by AliExpress. So that should be very interesting. And then a week after that, on the 3rd of December, we've got Steve from the US, AA4BW, who's going to give a talk about which poles, which fiberglass or carbon fiber poles are the best to use for what purpose for antennas, and giving some advice and ideas on that, as well as talking about parks on the air, and as well, of course, as talking about QRP operating. So we've got 3 lots of talks all around antennas coming up between now and Christmas. So lots there to get your teeth into. And of course, if you're not able to make a Wednesday night, Mark, they all go up on the club YouTube channel. Just search in YouTube for Pennine Ham, and you'll see the club site there and the various meetings that we've had in the club. So I hope you do find us, and if you're able to join us one day, you'll be very welcome. You don't need to become a member of the club, Mark. Just come along and come as many times as you like. And if in the end you decide you want to join, either as a free member or a paid member, you are very, very welcome indeed, but it's not compulsory. So on that note, Jeff, I'm going to wish everyone a very, very pleasant evening, and thank you very much for your company, and look forward to hearing you again. I'm going to stay listening for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to have to go. M0AUG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO group, M0AUG returning. Thanks, Nick. I knew you wanted to get away because you got some other commitments. So before we go over to northern Germany, I'm just going to pass it back to Mark and just see if he's got anything to say following what you mentioned on the future talks there. So over to you briefly there, Mark. MW0DIM, M0AEG.
M0AUG and W0DIM. Yes, thanks very much. It's G4IWO for the advice regarding YouTube and the guest speakers. Yeah, Ariel's nice, brilliant. Yeah, I got portable aerial up, and one I can sort of take down at night. I haven't got the infrastructure for the permanent HF aerial. It's just something I'm going to use sort of semi-permanently. So basically, when I operate, it'd be like a barks on the air setup at my home. So it's going to have to be something like that, sort of like a JCP12 or something. So that's great. So thanks very much for that advice. I'll scribble those dates down, and I'll probably see them on YouTube and that. And Meshtastic, yeah, I'm looking into that at the moment. That sounds very interesting. The Meshtastic nodes, and it's not that expensive to get involved with either. So the Lily goes, I think they're about 75 quid or something. The little keypad, they look like a BlackBerry phone. Your BlackBerry phone. So looking at that, and see if I can get a node or two running, and see how I can, fare with that. So, that's brilliant. So I had a good little time listening, and chatting. I had to take half hour out earlier on to pick the missus up. But yeah, I've enjoyed tonight. Excellent. So, thanks very much, MW0AUG and the group, and what's it called? So yeah, P4IWO for the advice regarding the talks on YouTube or whatever. So thank you, M0AUG, MW0DIM, standing by, and I'll start her then when everyone's done. Cheers.
MW0DIM in the group M0AG tonight. Yes, fine on that, Mark, and glad to have you on the group here. As Nick said, you can go to the club website, which is Pennine Ham UK, and you can see on the Google Calendar there all the upcoming events. You're not obliged to be a member to take part. Anybody can actually listen to it, and that's how it is. If you wish to be a supporter of the club once you've seen one or two, you can either become registered as a free member, which gives you membership, but you've no say in the running of the club in terms of decisions, or you can become a subscription member for £20 a year, and you get the options there to have a say in who are the officers of the club and the decisions we're made. There's room to about 65 members in the club at the moment, which, considering we started just about 15-18 months ago, we're very pleased with the results of that. Hope you want to join us in the park. So thanks for your contributions for so far this evening. So what we're going to do now, we're going to little northern Germany for Mike and Andrew there, and then we'll jump back up over to Lou for your picture, Lou, and your final, followed by Jeff and his picture and final. So over to northern Germany now. DL1BJW and DL8BET, M0AEG.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey with the final. Well, that was a very nice meeting again. A pleasure to listen to all the interesting thoughts and ideas, and giving new food for thoughts, so to speak. I hope that was correct. And yeah, you hear it on my voice. I'm still laboring a little bit with my cough, which I got middle of last week, and it always comes back again. But nevertheless, it was a nice evening, as I said, and thank you very much for doing a very good job in hosting it, Jeff. and I hope everybody stays well and will be healthy. Wishing you all the very best for this. Have a nice weekend coming. A good start into the new week, and I hope that will be as good as it was in the last few days, in my opinion anyway, and perhaps even get a little bit better. So thank you again. 73s from Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, Papa Fund, Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Thank you for this nice evening, and thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net. And yes, it was always interesting to hear what all of you are working there in the meantime. And Jeff in Belgium, 116 kilos also with QRP. There was 10 was amazing in the contest. And Lou, I can encourage you to try QRPP. I think you have so much success with your setup there and with your antennas. It must be worth a try to use QRP and QRPP there with these antennas. I think you can get contacts there with it. And Mark, congrats to your G90. I think you will have much pleasure with it. So goodbye from Northern Germany, 73 and 88. See you down the log or next week on the net. Bye bye. I'll hand the microphone back to N0 AUG.
DL8PG in the group with DL1 BJW. Thanks as always, Adrian, for your contributions to this group. You've been with us since we started off, and including the other club that we used to be all members of before we started Pennine Ham. So it's great to have your friendship and also the contributions that you make as well. Before I just go back to Lou and the gent of the pictures, I'm just going to go back over to Mark and MW0DIM. What happens now, Mark, is that two of the members, obviously with D-Star, we can actually send pictures between D-Star radios. So in actual fact, I'm going to pass it over to Lou first of all, who will then send his picture. We'll make some comments on that, and then pass over to Jeff in Belgium for his pictures. So anything final from you before we move on to that, Mark? W0DIM in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG and W0DIM. Yeah, I should be able to pick the picture up because I got an ID52 with some picture sending and receiving capability, so I should be able to pick up whatever's sent out. So yeah, nice chatting tonight to you and the group, the rest of the group. So I'll go 73s and I'll stand by and wait for the photos to come through. So yeah. Thanks for advice and stuff from people, and yeah, the G90 is a very good radio for the price. So basically a price of a second-hand phone or a mid-range phone, and much more fun as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for the discussions, and I'll wish you a good night. So M0AUG and W0 M0BUG and the group, MW0DIM 73s, and I'm going to stand by and look out the photos. Bye now.
MW0DIM in the group, M0AUG returning. Yes, fine on that, Mark, and we hope that you'll become a regular member of the group. Normally, we have a slightly bigger group because we normally have Bob, November 4X Alpha Tango from the US, who's always on here, a very big Porter guy, and his results are phenomenal there. And also, we have members down south, Thornton, M0RL, Minehead, they normally join us as well. And it's looking my list. Yeah, and also had one JKU, Fraser over in Denmark there. So the group is bigger than it is this evening, and together with Michael Gisbridge representing and Jeffs as well, TM4JKZ, and Keith who's up in the borders in Scotland. So whatever there is coming on makes an interesting group. Sometimes there's only 8, sometimes there can be 18. So thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to the photographs. Also, I'm now going to go first to Lou, G6 and KJJ. For your finals, please, Lou. Thank you.
0 AUG in the group, GAJJ. Yes, thanks, Jeff. You've done that really well again, and it's been a real pleasure having this net on Thursday evenings. Anyway, following Peter's presentation on valve transistors, I thought I'd send you a picture of a TW communicator, which I used in the 70s. It's a 2-meter transceiver, AM and CW. The TX is a valve circuit, which is crystal control, and obviously a fixed frequency. The RX is a transistorized receiver, and of course that's a VFO job. Since the 1970s, so but I got it out earlier the week and took the photograph. Anyway.
James Group M0AG. I'm sorry there, Lou, nothing particularly distinguishable on that picture. I'll just pass over to Jeff for any
M0 AUG over 8 November Tango. I have 76% of the picture. 76% of the picture. I could see that this is an old valve receiver or transceiver, but you were in the slow mode. You were in the slow mode. You hit picture TX, but you should hit TX all. That's why it went very slow. So you were probably jumped out after 3 minutes, kicked out, and that's why the picture stopped at the system. So you should take the TXO, which is the fast mode, which will be much better. From over 8 November Tango, back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Do you want to try to get in the mode that Jeff's suggesting there, Lou? G6KJJ in the group, M0AUG.
Okay, Jeff. I thought I got it on fast mode, but yeah, I've put it on the fast mode. At least I think I've put it on the fast mode. Really, I ought to try and get to grips with this. Start transmitting again. See how this comes.
Over to you, Jeff, for comments.
Yeah, that's 100% copy this time. That's this communicator. I can even read the letters on the receiver communicator. So very nice set there. So perfect picture. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for the advice. I really must make sure that this good picture. Okay, I will take for some short comments. First of all, a very good evening, Mark in Wales, to catch up again with you. And also thank you very much, Frank and Mark, about your I connect this one, my LoRa transceiver, or transceiver I should say, because I can receive also, and send on my mobile whip on my by the eye gate, which is on my balcony. So really amazing, and that's on 70 centimeters actually in my case, but you also have some other frequencies. Oh, you know, my picture QRX. Not sure if I am in chat. Can you copy me?
Nothing so far, Jeff.
M0AUG.
It's my talk. And I all of a sudden thought that Mark on Wales was talking. So, oh, you know, yeah, just some final remarks. Very good evening to you, Mark in Wales. Nice to catch up again with you. And very, and Mark, comments about my smash. I think it's very interesting, especially for Adriana. If you are in QRTP, you will really enjoy that. It's from 70 centimeters, it's different, but anyway, with 100 milliwatts or less, sometimes it's less than 100 milliwatts. I put that in my car with a mobile whip on the roof of the car, and my eye gate here on the balcony can just copy 20-25 kilometers away, still 100% copy. Okie-doke. My picture is, a picture of a lake here not far from here where I am. It's a small lake, actually. It's maybe 2 kilometers from where I live, and it's a little bit a autumn picture each eye. So here the picture is coming. You are it.
TM0UG. Perfect picture of me there, Jeff. Over to you there, Lou.
Yeah, perfect picture, Jeff, and very attractive scene. Very, very attractive. Hey, thank you. Well, that's one of the nice places here in the city where I live, in Alder. That's one of the nice places, and actually around that lake there are a lot of nice villas. It's a little bit rich people who live there, so not me trying. Thank you very much, Jeff, for organizing and sharing the net, and I hope to catch you again next week. And I would say 73s to everyone. And my DHC group of 8 November Tango.
Well, 8 November Tango in the group M0AG10. Thanks for the picture there. Let's check with Mark as to whether he was able to receive it or not. MW0DIM in the group, M0AG.
M0AUG and W0DIM the group. Yeah, I received 23% of the picture. I don't seem to have much luck in receiving pictures on my icon. So whether I've got something set wrong, I don't know. I'm going to have to have a little look at the manual. Whether my baud rate is set wrong, I'm not entirely sure. I will have to check that. But I got 23% of it, so near enough a quarter. Back to you, M0AUG in the group, MW0DIM.
MW0DIM in the group M0AG. Yeah, I don't know about that. Perhaps have it over the course of the next week or two if you want to join us, and I'm sure Jeff in Belgium, who's the expert on this little lot, can provide some pointers, some guidelines to you, and we hope you continue to enjoy the group there. Back to you for a final mark.
M0AUG and W0DIM. Yeah, I think I'll have to, I might try and send a picture myself if I can find anything sort of interesting enough. I'll obviously compress the files down a bit. So there are a couple of hundred sort of kilobytes instead of megabytes. And see how I fare with that. It's a mystery. I've never actually been able to receive bits and pieces all pixelated all over the place. So I'm gonna have to read up on maybe a forum or something about this radio, and see if anyone else had the similar sort of problems. But yeah, I've isn't right though. We can do something else instead. So, yeah, it's fortunate everyone cancelled tonight then. Yeah, definitely have to get this picture mode problem sorted out. So I'm gonna have a look at the YouTube videos. If anything, might be my baud rate or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll have to check it out. Nice chatting to the group, and I'm gonna go to some threes now. I'm starving. I'm gonna put some DMs on them. So M0AUG in the group. This is MW0EIM. I'm 73s. I go and listen on standby then. So thanks for hosting the group. Anyway, it's been great. And I'm going to go stand by and I'll wait till everything dissolves, the network, then I'm going to put some food on. So 73s everyone, and I'll just stand by and listen to the last discussions. Bye now everyone.
M0DIM in the group, M0AG, returning. Yes, fine with that, Mark, and I'm glad you enjoyed the net this evening, and hope you're able to join with your other commitments on a regular basis. And Jeff in Belgium and keeping up in the borders will help all we can to sort the picture things out for you. So thank you for joining the net this evening, Mark, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you everybody who's been on the net this evening for your contributions, as usual, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. So this is M0 using the Pennine Ham digital net for another week, and have a good week everybody, stay safe.
73s everyone.
MW0DIM.